All right, I have a super amazing workflow to show you. I am really proud of this one. So this is, I call it a lead enrichment bot, but it's so much more than that. But essentially how it works is you give it a list of LinkedIn profile URLs and it gives you demographic and psychographic information. It's really awesome. Let me explain how it works. First, you have to give it a list of these profiles. Now you can obviously scrape for these profiles, but the reason I built it was because I think it's more valuable to people who, say, for example, give away a resource on LinkedIn, and then you collect the profiles of people who engage with you. This is your real potential target market. Like, these people are coming to you for a resource or engaging you in some way, which means that they're interested in the content or what you share on LinkedIn. So once you have this list, what the bot does is it scrapes each and every one of those profiles and gets key information from them, and then it looks for statistical average information. Let me explain what I mean by that. So lead enrichment is usually very, very time consuming and expensive because what you're trying to do is find an individual person's browsing history, buying habits, where they clicked, et cetera, et cetera. And that is very valuable, but again, expensive, time consuming. But what you're missing out on is a much easier way to gather critical information, which is statistical averages. Because it turns out we humans, while we are very unique individually, in mass, we're not that different. Now, no one person will ever fit 100% inside of a narrow profile, but you'll get 70 to 80% of the way there because there's a ton of overlap. And that's what we're looking at. So what this bot does is it takes the profile information and then it looks for their location and their job, and it finds the average salary for that job in that location. And then it takes their profile information and their profile picture and it deduces potential demographic information. And it uses that to find out like what is the average economic situation in this particular area for this particular demographic, for example. And with those statistical averages, you're able to create a pretty robust profile that is going to be pretty accurate most of the time. And then at the end of that, you have this amazing list basically of ICPs, and what you can do with it after you've created this list is take all of those profiles and put it back into AI and say, okay, here is the profiles of the people who engage with me and my business the most. What can you tell me about them? And it'll find all of the similarities, and you could really discover like who it is that you're attracting to your content, to your products. Very valuable stuff. So let me go ahead and show you how all this works. Here we have our enriched lead information. Products they buy. Also, there is an assumption of subscriptions. We also have AI make an assumption of hobbies, channels they frequent, psychological triggers, salary in USD, their position, an assumption of gender presentation based on the profile, an assumption of age based on that profile picture, an assumption of ethnicity, also assumes whether or not they're a homeowner, whether or not they're married, which can also come from profile information, and whether or not they have children.